Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of That Fuzzing Rock Show interviews. We got a really, really good one for you today. Let me introduce you guys to Sven Dirkschneider. Sven, how are you today, my
Hello,
friend?
everyone. Hey, I'm doing pretty fine. How about you?
Very, very well. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Listen, first of all, let me thank you for stopping by, hanging out with us today. We definitely appreciate your time, and we're not going to waste any of it. We'll get right into it. How's that sound?
Right, sounds pretty good. Thanks for
All
having
right.
me.
Absolutely. So we're here to talk about the newest release. It's called Touchdown. It's available via Atomic Fire Records. Check your streaming platforms for availability, and we'll get to all that in just a little bit. First, let's start out talking about the band a little bit. Who's who in the band, and what do they do?
First of all, actually, I mean, it's my dad singing, Udo Dirkschneider. We have Mr. Fabian D. Damas from Germany on guitar. And then we have Mr. Andrei Smirnov on guitar. And then we have Peter Baltis on bass. He joined at the beginning of the year.
He's the newest addition, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, he helped us out big time last year on our European tour when our bassist Tillen, our former bassist Tillen, got sick on the second show, I believe. So we called him on a Sunday, asked him if he could be in Berlin on Wednesday. I mean, he's living in Florida. And so he flew to Germany, learned the whole set list within a short notice, 3 days or whatever. And yeah, he was playing the European run with us. Then we flew to South America. And suddenly we got the info that Tillen no longer wants to be part of the band due to personal reasons. And then, yeah, I mean, we sat down with Peter and he was totally up for joining the band. He felt very comfortable. Chemistry, atmosphere was very nice with him. He's obviously one of the best, if not the best, metal bassist out there. So we were really happy to welcome him to the band. And it's so awesome to see him and my dad performing together after all these years.
Sure, absolutely. Now, when did the band first come together, and how did you guys all come to be a band? How did you guys all get together?
I mean, my dad started UDO in '89, I think.
Mhm.
So, I mean, obviously, there have been several musicians involved in that band since then. And we had some changes over the years as well. I joined personally in 2015. That's when I got started with the band as a full-time member and touring musician, studio musician. Before that, I was more into teching. I'm obviously pretty young as well, so
Sure.
I joined when I was what age was that? 20, 21, 22, something like that.
Mhm.
Fabian then came into the band. Andre is there since 2012. So officially, I mean, it's my dad's solo project, which he started in '89. But we call ourselves a band, because we like to keep it that way. And we don't like to see it as a solo project, and he doesn't like to see it as a solo project as well. So he always wanted to have a full-on band
Sure.
performing together, and that we can interact and discuss stuff with each other. That's very important, I guess.
Now I've seen it listed as UDO and Dirkschneider. Are they kind of one and the same, or is it a different lineup? Hey guys, hope you're enjoying the video. If you guys like what you see, do me a favor, right down here, click that subscribe button, give the video a like, and ring that little notification bell. That way you guys know when we post new stuff and when we go live on the air. Do me a huge favor. Tell a friend or two. Now, let's get right back to the action for each
It
one.
is the same lineup. We did a tour with under the name Dirk Schneider. We started in 2016 when we did Accept Classics Only. So that was the
Oh,
whole
okay.
reason. We wanted to sort of separate that, so people know when they get UDO, they get full on UDO, and when we go as Dirk Schneider, we play Accept Classics Only. And we kept it that way ever since. So yeah, it's a bit easier for the people. If they see Dirk Schneider on the lineup, then they know, okay, I get Accept, and if they see UDO, it's UDO.
All right, that makes sense then. So now you guys are kind of in the midst of like festival season right now. How's that been going for you guys?
It's awesome. I mean, we just finished up our last show in August on the 25th. Before that, we did what I think 16, 17 shows. Very, very successful summer. We were really lucky with the weather. I mean, some of the festivals were in deep shit. Let's put it this way.
Sure.
I myself was at Wacken for one day, and it was just a mud fest. It was bloody disgusting. But it was very successful for us. We got to play a lot of beautiful places, good audiences, and met a lot of friends, musicians, good fans out there. I really enjoyed it.
So let's talk about you for a little bit. When did you first know that you wanted to be a full-time musician?
I would say that started when I was still, teching for. I was working with Saxon back in the day. I was touring with them in 2013 and 14, and then their drummer Nigel got sick on the tour, and they had to postpone some shows in the UK. And I came back from that tour. Obviously, we had to stop it. And then Biff called me and asked if I wanted to help out for 5 shows in the UK. And at the same time, my dad decided to look for a new drummer, and then he called me and asked if I would want to join the band UDO as a full-time member. So both were, it was exactly at the same time. So I had like, 46 songs on my list to learn. So I just I went into my cellar, my basement, just sat behind the drum set, and then I thought like, okay, now it's, I think, time to decide if you want to do that full time or not. And I said yes to my dad, and that was my start with touring full time. And that's when I decided to do that for my entire life. Hopefully, if that works out.
So now I'm going to ask you a question, but you can't cheat and say accept. That's not acceptable. You can't do that. What are some of your early influences?
Definitely Mickey D. I mean, if you ask for a drummer, I would definitely say Mickey D. I
Yeah.
was looking up to that guy for a long time. He was actually one of the first drummers I saw playing live and sat behind a drum kit and watched the whole show. So he had a huge impact on me, and I loved his powerful style of playing drums, not just sitting there and trying to get every note right. It was more about the empowerment behind the drums, and give the people a good time, and really enjoy himself as well while playing. And so yeah, I would say Mickey D. As a band, I started out listening to more pop punk back in the day.
Mhm.
So if it would be a band, I would say Sum 41.
Okay.
Chuck album was definitely one of my favorites of all time.
Mhm. So is there anything out there now, new stuff that has your ear? Any new music that has your ear?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there are so many good bands that I listen to. I mean, like, stuff happens. You walk over a festival field when I was, younger, and just visited festivals. I stumbled over Muse. I never heard of them before. They took a huge impact on me when I saw them live. I think that's one of the most badass live bands there is at the moment. That's something definitely not new. I mean, if you want to call it new, there are so many good bands. Ginger, I really enjoy listening to their like very progressive style of music.
Yeah.
So I mean, what else? Sidecore, it's a German band, also like more hardcore, death metal, hardcore stuff. That's around. So yeah, I definitely do listen to new music and modern music as well, and I try to keep myself up to date. Love Ghost, I mean, that also is like one of the most amazing bands at the moment out there. I think they just getting better and better. So yeah, Falling in Reverse, I love that as well. Like, also a new approach, which is definitely, there's a lot going on in that music, but
Yeah,
here and there I like
absolutely.
to listen to that. Yeah.
So now I'm going to give you 5. I'm going to give you 5 questions. I kind of call them like a rapid fire 5.
hmm
I'm going to ask you 5 questions as quick as you can, and I know it's hard to do, but I'm going to give you the questions and give me the answers as quick as you can. You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. What was the name of your first band?
Damaged.
Damaged. All right. What about your first gig? Do you remember your first gig?
First gig was in my school. We have this thing here in Cologne, in Germany, Carnival. So we performed a bunch of punk songs, very drunken, I remember, and we were way too young to drink at that time.
Is there one album out there that you could never get sick of?
Let me think. That is definitely That's a tough one to choose. Hang on, let me just get that right. I don't want to fuck it up.
All right.
Let me get that right. Power and the Glory, Saxon.
There you go. Now, of course, other than the newest release, Touchdown from UDO, but we'll get to that in a minute for sure. Did you ever sell any music gear that you regret?
Yes, I sold a snare once that I shouldn't have sold at that time.
And finally, the fifth one is your biggest onstage oops.
Yeah, stumbling over a monitor that I didn't see. So there was a curtain. I opened the curtain. I walked, and boom, there I am, right on the floor.
All right, you did well, man. You did very well at it. I
Thank you
appreciate
very
that. So
much.
now, of course, your father is it's not even arguably your father is for sure considered royalty in the metal scene. How was it growing up with Udo as a dad?
I mean, you know what? A lot of people ask me that question, and I must say that it was very normal for me at the beginning. I mean, you just do your thing. You go to a kindergarten, you start out in school, and that's when it becomes interesting for the first time, I would say. Like these typical questions, tell me who you are and who are your parents and what do they do for work? And if you answer them that my dad is a heavy metal singer, everyone goes like, whoa, that's a job.
Ooh,
you know like
right,
what's going on there? And so that's when it became interesting, and I started to realize what it means to have a known musician, as a dad or in the family. So but for me, I mean, that was my life. I didn't know it any other way. So I was going out to shows whenever I could with my mom and my sister. We were driving there or even flying there when we had holiday and stuff like that. So getting to know musicians and watching shows and going out to live concerts was a very normal thing for me. And then when you get older and you get into your teenage years and stuff like that, you start to realize, okay, that was something very special that I did back then. I was hanging out with Joey Jordison playing Xbox in his fucking nightliner, and I didn't know what that meant at that time,
right,
because I was so innocent. I just did that. It was like,
sure,
oh, cool, we're playing ice hockey. I love it. And
right, right.
that was it. And then back in the day, now when I still have his autograph down in my collection, I'm looking at that and I have really good memories. And of course, it's like, you start to smile and it's like, okay, not all of them get to see that and experience that. So
Right, right.
then you start to appreciate it. But yeah, the first years were really normal. My dad tried to be as normal as possible as a dad, which was or is very important. I'm a dad myself now,
Mhm.
so I know how it is exactly. And I know how he felt back in the day, because it is tough if you leave home for such a long time. So yeah, and I mean, then if you like, as I said, I teched a lot for him as well as a drum tech and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
people come up to me now, showing me photos from Wacken 2005, when I was just a little kid standing on the side of the stage. And that's so cool if you get
That
to
is
meet these
cool.
people now. That's and I appreciate it a lot, because a lot of people do remember that, and so that's really really cool. And yeah, I appreciate it.
Now, did you notice, like, when you got into when you could kind of comprehend everything that was going on, dad's a rock star and stuff like that, did you notice that kids like tried to be your friend because of that? Could you kind of pick that out when you were younger? Or?
Luckily, I must say that it wasn't the case with me and my friends, because
Good.
like I started out playing music quite early. I was in a church choir back then, playing
Mhm.
drums, and so I built myself a very musical friendship, you know, sort of. So they, of course, he was still a rock star, and they thought it was cool, but it wasn't that they approached me and tried to be my friend. What was more interesting is that parents of other people thought that, my dad's a drug head, like he's an alcoholic, blah blah blah, he's just partying. So they wouldn't allow their kids to go and play with me.
Oh, wow.
So that was something that was really struggling when that happened a couple of times. But then obviously we sorted the situation and we explained their parents, like, or my parents, went to them and said, like, look, we are very normal people.
Right.
Yes, he is a heavy metal singer, and like a lot of people know him worldwide, but that's about it. He's not Ozzy Osbourne, when he's home. So
Right.
it's a different story. But yeah, that was kind of struggling, and I felt very very bad back then. It was like, why? I didn't understand. Why is he different than your dad? Because he's going to a bank and he's going up on stage and sings. So that was kind of tough to grab, I would say.
Well, he's different from their dad because your dad's fucking cool and they're not. Theirs isn't. So, what's your take on the state of the metal scene these days? Like, what do you think about the scene today?
I love it, I must say. I mean, I think it's a very strong community that was built over the years, and everyone is so fucking loyal and try to achieve that in different genres. It's not fucking possible. So, like whenever you go out, especially on these festivals, it's such a friendly and welcoming community, and everyone helps each other, and that's what I appreciate, and that's what I love. That's how I like to treat people as well. And there's no ego and stuff like that. So I think it's quite unique what we have, and I'm very happy that it turned out after COVID to be the same as before. And yeah, then when you go out, on tour, there's no one like stupid, and they are very respectful, and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So it's super cool to meet people. It's not
Sure.
annoying or anything like that. And yeah, that's what I appreciate. And when it comes to the musicianship behind the whole metal scene, as I said, there's no ego. People want to do collaborations and stuff like that, and we just talk a lot, hang around a lot, have a couple of drinks and whatnot. So I think it's a super cool scene. And regarding bands, I mean, there are upcoming bands. There will be upcoming bands, because a lot of people say that as soon as all the big headliners died, basically, there will be no other band that is remarkable or rememberable. But I
Sure.
don't think so. There are a lot of great bands out there, and they will take their path towards headlining slots and remarkable songs and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this new album you guys got. It's titled Touchdown. It is available now via Atomic Fire Records. Check your streaming platforms for availability. How's the album been doing so far? I know it's early yet.
Really, really good.
Good.
Really, really good. I
Good.
mean, the feedback we got so far is overwhelming, and we were super satisfied with the album as well. But it's still, it's like a newborn baby. You put it out there, and you don't know what you get, what to expect, what the
Sure.
people
Absolutely.
think, and the comments I read so far, and yeah, the reaction from the press is very, very overwhelming and amazing. So yeah, it's going pretty well.
Awesome. Very cool. How long did it take for you guys to write the album?
Actually, we started out to write this album when it was still COVID times. So we basically just released the latest album, Game Over, and then there was time, obviously, because nobody could
Sure.
play and we couldn't go on tour. So we started writing the next one, and then unfortunately we had a couple of breaks in between because my house got flooded.
Oh,
So
geez.
my studio was gone within a day. So we had
Mm.
to look for a new workspace and stuff like that. Then the war started out in Ukraine, and our guitarist is Russian, living in the Ukraine with his wife and his kids. So he was right in the war zone, which was very
Wow.
horrible. So we had to we were basically waiting for answers every day for about a month,
I'm sure.
that
Yeah.
he's still alive. So we had to stop everything, obviously, and we had to get him out first. Luckily, that went well, and he's safe and all good in Germany now.
Thankfully. Yeah.
And that's when we uh, got back on track afterwards. So it took some time, but sometimes it's good to have time as well, and don't rush it. So we
Mhm.
also had to write a lot of material, or we were able to write a lot of material, and the turnout of the material that ended up on the album is super cool, I think, because it's a new approach for UDO. It's still UDO, but it's a bit more modern, a bit more aggressive, a bit faster than we usually play and stuff like that, a bit more complicated here and there. So it was really cool to write that material.
Sure, absolutely. Where did you guys record the album?
That takes place here and there, basically. So I do record my drums with Stefan Kaufmann in Solingen in his studio.
Mhm.
The guitarist recorded their guitars from home. Luckily, we were able to do that, during these times. Of course, our approach would be to go into a big studio and just do it all together.
Sure.
And that's definitely what we want to do for the next album. But yeah, when we started out with this album, it was just not possible, So luckily, we had the opportunities to do it that way. My dad is recording vocals with Stefan as well. I mean, he's been doing that forever. And Mattes, our producer, is living in Wilhelmshaven, has a studio there, so that's where it gets all together, and he does the mix, and then Stefan mastered it at his studio.
Now, the first single is called "Forever Free." The first single that came out was "Forever Free." Tell us a little bit about that song.
That's sort of, Forever Free was a song we came up with. Andre sent us the demo, and it had that very, like you're riding a highway on a motorbike, and you just think to yourself, fuck all what's going on the world in the world, or like politically and stuff like that. I just want to live my life, want to
Absolutely.
be who I am, and you know think twice. I mean, we don't want to be those people who say false media or whatever, or fake stories or whatever, or fake
Mhm.
news. We don't want to
Yep.
be these people, but think twice. Try to approach it with your own logic, and then come up with a result that fits for your living and stuff like that. So yeah, that's why we called it Forever Free, and that's how the lyric turned out. And I think it's just a super cool anthem for all the people out there.
Yeah, I love it, man. That's awesome. The third single was Fight for the Right." That came out actually the day the album was released. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Yeah, that was a song, for example, we wrote. Yeah, the topic is war in Ukraine and worldwide. Like
Mhm.
we definitely condemn war, and we hate it. Just make peace and not war. And so that's the message behind it. Always fight for the right cause, because the good will always win.
Absolutely.
And if we stand together, there's no need to make up a war or whatever. And we just thought that it fitted with the musical approach, because there's that classic part in there as well, which is also like, sort of cool to have it in such a lyrical piece. Yeah, so that's the message behind it. Fuck war.
Now, do you have this is a tough question to answer, I know, and I ask everybody, it's like trying to name your favorite kid, but do you have a favorite track on the album?
Yes, The Betrayer,
Oh,
because it's
good
so
one.
different from all the
Yes.
others.
Yes, it is.
And that was also a really cool one to approach in the studio, because when we first listened to the demo, my dad was like, "What's that?" Like,
R
we can't do that, and I'm like,
right,
"Of
right.
course we can, we should, because of that reason that you said it. You go into the cabin now and you try what you can." And he came out, and it felt fucking great for him. So I was really, really happy that we just didn't say we skip it from the beginning,
Right.
because it's such a yeah, it's a different style. We I think UDO never came up with such a hard song, and fast song, and it sort of goes into thrash themes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was really fun to work on that one, because he got to try his voice, in the low parts, and then for the chorus we went all in, really high screaming voice, and I think he sounds phenomenal. The band is sounding tight, different, and that's what I like.
Yeah, no, I listen, man. I listened to it front to back, and I'm very pleased with it. You guys got a killer one on your hands. Do you guys have any plans of like a full length tour in support of the album?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, the album was just released last Friday, so
Mhm.
we already announced some tour dates for Europe next year, and we are currently still working on the US dates. Hopefully, we are ready to announce very soon because we would love to come back as soon as possible. And it's been some time. Of course, COVID, you know, decided that we couldn't go because it was planned already during these times as well.
Right. Right.
But obviously, we had to cancel and postpone. So now, hopefully, it's the time to come back, and then we do a full circle. So America, Europe, festivals, South America. We already working on going back to Japan and Australia. So definitely, this will be a full world touring circle, and we are working full steam.
Awesome. Well, hopefully you guys hit the upstate New York area. I'd love to shake your hand in person. Is there anything
Oh,
else you want to tell
absolutely.
the folks before we wrap this up? Because I don't want to take too much. I've already taken too much of your time already as it is. So
Oh, all good, man. All good. I mean, as I said, I really would love to come back to the States as soon as possible and to play for all you guys and meet you out there. I hope you enjoy the record, get your copy, or if you stream it on all the digital streaming platforms. And yeah, I hope you like the music, and I can't wait to meet you and rock for you.
listen, well said, my man. Listen, folks, the band is UDO, sometimes Dirkschneider, but we're talking about UDO right now. The newest release is called Touchdown. Is available right now. Go out and get it on Atomic Fire Records. Check your streaming platforms for availability. And for more info, please check out udoonline.com. Facebook is Udo Online or Dirkschneider Official. You have Instagram is U.D.O.official. Twitter is Udo Online. You can also check out atomicfirerecords.com, and Facebook and Instagram are Atomic Fire Records. That's where you guys can get it. I do strongly urge that they get it because, listen, I'm not going to wish you luck on the album, man, because you got a killer on your hands. It stands on its own, and I don't need to wish you luck at all. But I wish you luck with everything else, my friend, and thank you for taking your time to hang out with us today. It's been a pleasure, and please, Sven, first say hi to Dad for me if you would, please, and
I will, absolutely.
and listen, stop by anytime. I'd love to sit down and talk to you some more, my friend.
Would be awesome. I would appreciate it. And I thank you for having me and have a great day. I will have a good night. Enjoy your beer now.
There you
Take
go.
care and hopefully
It's been
see
my
you soon.
pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. It's Sven Dirkschneider. Thanks, Sven.
Thank you very much. Have a great night. Bye bye.